Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I'm going to have to seriously use the next couple of months to think about moving out of the Phoenix area for good. And I might not move out of the country, actually, but Phoenix has become a place where a lot of bad fortunes converge together. Let's talk about that. First of all, Phoenix is geographically huge. So, for example, if you look at an event in Phoenix, there's no guarantee it's going to be convenient for you to go to, right? When I was in Taipei, if the event was in Taipei, chances are I wouldn't have to put much thought into it. Also, Taipei has very good public transportation. Here, everything's at least a half-hour drive. And cars are the wheels of misfortune. They really are. Every time you start your car, you got to pray that everything goes right. Nothing good can come out of a drive from one place to another, aside from the fact that you get to do whatever you want to do, right? Nobody ever is ever going to hit a big jackpot of some sort while they're driving, right? You might if you take a subway train, right? Yeah, sometimes you meet the right people. Sometimes you get an inspiration from something. None of that ever comes from only misfortunes can be spun on the wheels of a car, right? You get a flat tire, your car breaks down, get into a fender bender, or even some road rage, right? Every time you crank up the engine, you spin the wheels of misfortune. That's the best I could say about that. And it's also pretty expensive, right? I recently was doing some financial calculus because I was thinking about what was I doing? I wanted to calculate how much it actually cost me per mile to drive because I was doing some financial calculus about what job to take. And so I had just drove my last car into the ground. It was a Kia Forte. And I keep pretty good documentation of everything, actually. And so I crunched the numbers, how many miles I got out of that car, how much I ever spent on it total, and I was shocked by the result. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so that takes care of car culture. And then there's people culture. The people here don't think shit about anybody else, especially during the hot weather. I was ill with COVID-19 and I was dehydrated. And I went to a local grocery store, and this was long after the height of the pandemic had wound down. I don't know why there was nowhere to sit. I ended up sitting on a mobility scooter, and the security guard gives me heck about it. Now, I've told the story many times. One of my coworkers told me that, you know what, maybe the security guard actually didn't want to kick me out, but he probably runs into troublemakers in the store a lot. And if he tries to use good judgment on who to kick out, that could be kind of tricky too. That's what my coworker said. Leave a comment if that's true or not. I don't know if you've ever worked security, any of you guys on this channel. But my coworker says that sometimes they just need to have these zero tolerance policies because the moment they start practicing human judgment, all sorts of wackiness will show up. I don't know if that's true or not. And so when I said I had COVID-19, it gave him an excuse to back off, right? So that kind of worked. From now on, if I ever need to loiter anywhere, that's going to be my go-to excuse, right? Either COVID-19, the flu, or something that's potentially contagious, right? I don't know. Leave a comment. I had another drama like that while I got lost on my way back from the airport. But long story short, so what if somebody was shooting fentanyl on the mobility scooter at the grocery store, right? Let them do whatever they want to themselves, right? I don't know. That's my thought, right? You're not going to make it any better. Even if I were shooting fentanyl on that mobility scooter, being outside and hot and shooting fentanyl isn't going to be any better than doing it inside the store, right? We just don't give shit about each other, right? All right. Don't car culture. Don't give a shit about each other, and also I don't mingle well with these people here. I'm very introverted. Over in Taiwan, there's a lot more inclusion of people who are introverted. So, for example, I noticed at my work that a lot of people find good opportunities at work because of networking. And when I tried to do that, I got very frustrated. And I ended up going to my car and crying. Earlier this week, I was trying to mingle with some Lego folks because you guys know what I've been doing with my art projects, the Lego stuff, and not to mention some of my other art masterpieces. If only I had the right network, I'd probably go a lot farther. Right? I really feel that way. I really feel that's the missing piece, but it's very difficult for me. I went to a Lego event and I literally walked out of that. When I got to my car, after I started the car, I said a quick prayer. I asked the God of dislikes to please just help me drive this train of networking with the right people. I can't do it anymore. And I handed the wheels of that train to the God of dislikes. And so I felt better after I said it out loud like that. But that's not something that happened in Taiwan. Over in Taiwan, when I walked away, people actually showed concern for me. And I actually made quite a number of connections that played out like that. And then we wonder why here in the United States our life expectancy is the lowest amongst the first and second world. I think it's shrunk a few years in a row. We wonder why. You know what? I think life expectancy is a way better measure of a country's growth than GDP. Right? GDP could just be people trading Pokemon cards for more and more money, right? That would increase GDP, by the way, right? But trading Pokemon cards for bigger and bigger numbers won't do shit about your life expectancy. It might even make them go down, right? So you tell me, which one's a better metric? All right. But I'm gonna have to work hard on moving out like these next couple of months when it's cool. And the reason for that is when it starts to get hot again, when it's 115 degrees, it's very difficult to think about leaving Phoenix. I know that sounds paradoxical. I always think, I'll move out when it's hot. No, you got to move out before it's hot. When it's hot, the only thing you can think about is surviving the next 5-10 minutes. That's been my own experience. Leave a comment if that's ever happened to you. It's kind of like trying to wait until a big recession to try to conserve resources, right? I have a funny experience with that. I used to have a favorite gas station that was considerably cheaper. The gas station was consistently 20, 30 cents a gallon cheaper. And the reason it was considerably cheaper, I think, this is my theory, the entrance to the gas station was kind of wacky. You had to turn in a certain way, and when you got out, you were going the wrong way. And that inconvenienced people so much that gas was 20, 30, 40 cents cheaper than typical. It was even crazier during the pandemic. During the pandemic, when everybody else was selling gas for $2 a gallon, they were like $1.20. They were considerably cheaper, if I remember correctly. Now, fast forward 2 years later, and Putin had just invaded Ukraine, and now everybody's selling gas for $7, $8 a gallon. And you would think, oh my God, you need to go to that station, even if you have to make a few extra turns. Nope. That gas station was only 5 cents cheaper now because everybody, all of a sudden, it mattered now. So trying to wait until there's a problem to go and solve it often doesn't work very well because everybody's going to be thinking of, and plus your energy is being diverted elsewhere. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.